Hello, everyone. Welcome to our pitch event, the WFP Innovation Accelerator pitch event focusing on rethinking our food systems. My name is Hila Cohen, and I'm the Chief of Staff at the WFP Innovation Accelerator, and I will be the host for the first part of this event. So, before we start, maybe I'll say a few words about the World Food Program, and if someone can help me with the slides, that will be great. Thanks so much. So let's move into the next slide as well. So great, here we are, and you know our team loves social media. So if you follow us on social media, you can tweet about us on WFP Innovation or on LinkedIn on WFP Innovation Accelerator, and don't forget to use the hashtag #DisruptHunger. Next slide. So we are part of the United Nations World Food Program, one of the largest humanitarian agencies in the world. We operate in over 90 countries around the world, and we operate in places that are currently in the headlines, places like Haiti and Afghanistan. And we are very proud to be the 2020 Nobel Peace Prize laureates, as they brought the topic of hunger to the global conversation. Next slide. We at the World Food Program Innovation Accelerator support and scale high impact innovations to disrupt hunger. And in a moment, I'll explain how we do that. And we couldn't do this important job without a wonderful network of donors, partners, and collaborators. Next slide. And this is what we do. At the WFP Innovation Accelerator, our goal is to support innovation teams and startups. Do you know that in the last 6 years, we got more than 6,000 applications to our program? And just for this event today, for this bootcamp that we just completed, we had hundreds of applications. And today you will see 9 wonderful teams pitch to share their ideas linked to food systems. We do different things in our team, including sourcing innovation, running innovation bootcamps for 5 days virtually. And we also have funded to date more than 100 projects with $100,000 around the world. And we also have a scale-up enablement program that focuses on taking STEAM to the next level of scaling. We also have a network of hubs in different locations, including Tanzania, Jordan, and South Sudan. We also have a regional hub in Nairobi and also a local innovation team in Kenya itself. And we are also supporting different organizations that have an SDG focus in their innovation journey. Such organizations include the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Next slide. And what's important for us is the reach and the impact. And just in 2020, we reached more than 3.7 million people. One of our projects, H2Grow, that grows food for people and their livestock in different places around the world, reached more than 20,000 people just in 2020, and this year it's scaling to numerous additional countries. Next slide. And today, as I mentioned, we have 9 wonderful teams, and they apply to a challenge that we run focused on themes linked to this year's Food System Summit that's taking place on the 23rd of September. They're focusing on resilient food systems, on safe and nutritious food systems, and inclusive food systems. Next slide. And before I give the floor to 2 speakers, and afterwards we'll go into the pitches, I just want to share one inspiring moment. We are here to scale. And for the listeners that we have close to 250 listeners, and to the wonderful pitchers, you one day could be like Share the Meal. Share the Meal went through our innovation program. Share the Meal is the biggest individual giving platform today. And it has more than 100 million meals shared on this platform. And even Tim Cook from Apple celebrated this app as one of the best apps of 2020. And you could be the next Share the Meal, starting here in our program and then scaling with us in the future. So now I will move on and give the floor to our first speaker, Michael DeSisti from USAID. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sheila. On behalf of USAID's Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance, or BHA, let me extend a warm welcome to the innovators and fans of innovation here today. I think we're all excited to hear these pitches. I'm Mike DeSisti, Director of BHA's Office of Policy, Partnerships, Programs, and Communication in Washington. The benefactor of the Nobel Peace Prize awarded last year to the World Food Program is known to have said, "If I have 1,000 ideas and one turns out to be good, I'm satisfied." I think it's safe to say that with the 9 innovators here today, and we're going to hear from them shortly, each having survived a rigorous selection process involving more than 500 applicants, we've more than surpassed Alfred Nobel's threshold for satisfaction. But let's not declare success until we have a chance to fine-tune, scale, and replicate the best of these ideas in support of resilient food systems, the focus of this accelerator event. BHA's mission is straightforward. We work to provide life-saving humanitarian aid to help the world's most vulnerable people prepare for crises, recover from them, and transition away from relief to self-reliance. As we all know, the frequency, scale, and complexity of these crises have significantly increased in the past decade, generating unprecedented levels of humanitarian need, severe food and nutrition insecurity included, and affecting coping mechanisms of the most vulnerable around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated these needs, further challenging our ability to respond. As humanitarian emergencies evolve, so must we. Now more than ever, humanitarian organizations need to adapt and innovate to make programs more effective and efficient to address the gap between limited resources and ever-growing needs. This sobering reality is the basis for USAID's enthusiastic support for WFP's Innovation Accelerator. USAID's work with WFP extends back to the 1960s, and I'm proud to say that USAID has remained the largest donor to WFP throughout the years, partnering to provide emergency food assistance around the world. In just 1 year, the COVID-19 pandemic has increased both moderate and severe food insecurity by almost 320 million people. 320 million people. A key driver of this dire statistic is the disruption of food systems, the humanitarian challenge the innovations being pitched at today's event seek to address. Ending hunger and malnutrition and building more sustainable, equitable, and resilient food systems will be at the core of discussions at the UN Global Food Systems Summit later this month, making this Innovation Accelerator particularly timely. In addition to a robust set of deliverables and commitments, the United States will also bring its expertise and experience in innovation, technology, and development to support global initiatives emerging from the summit. It's going to take all of us in our innovative ideas transformed into action to reverse this negative trend of growing food insecurity. The 9 innovators you'll hear from today, from Armenia, Cambodia, China, Haiti, Kenya, Nigeria, Yemen, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, are doing important work to bring new and creative approaches to disrupt hunger and bring critical aid to people in need. Over the last week, they've been benefiting from the guidance and expertise of facilitators and mentors, including several from BHA, in all areas of innovation and humanitarian action. While USAID and WFP believe in the transformative power of investing in innovation, it's the piloting, testing, and scaling of new ideas that can't be done in isolation. Engaging directly with local communities, supporting locally led solutions through local organizations is essential to ensure new ideas meet the needs of target population and empower those we seek to help by promoting self-reliance. Innovation also requires the development of new partnerships and networks to finance and scale creative ideas so that their impact can be realized. We are therefore delighted to have investors, donors, NGOs, and others join us today to learn about the new solutions and ideas that are being presented and how they can help us improve the effectiveness and efficiency of humanitarian programming. As you learn about these 9 exciting projects, I encourage you to reach out to the WFP Innovation Accelerator, share your feedback, comments, and ideas. with the innovators. It's only together that we'll be able to collectively work to achieve zero hunger by 2030. In closing, a message for our innovators, the owners of today's crazy ideas, which just might be tomorrow's next big thing. Time to turn your ideas into action. We look forward to your pitches and know that you can count on BHA's continued engagement throughout your journeys. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Michael, for those very inspiring words. I'm sure the pitchers really appreciate those, and also the whole team in the World Food Program. So next on stage will be Valerie Guarnieri, Assistant Executive Director from the World Food Program. Valerie, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Hila. Great to hear you. Great to see you. I hope you can see me as well. I can't control the video. It was good to hear from Mike as well. Mike, I just saw you several months ago in Kenya. It's great to have you and all of the experience that you bring to your new role in BHA in Washington. We're all really excited to hear from the 9 pitchers today and the game-changing solutions that you are providing to strengthen local and global food systems. And I know, and I have to say, I'm particularly intrigued that within these pitches come some from some of our most challenging contexts and countries. And that's really such an important part of WFP's engagement with the Innovation Accelerator, is making sure that we're looking at solutions that speak to all the contexts in which we're working. And that's absolutely key. Now, innovation is so important when we look at food systems, because as Mike said, the needs are growing, and they're growing beyond what WFP can address, no matter how big we get. It's in order to ensure that we're keeping pace with the growing needs, we need to make sure that national systems are doing what they need to do to be addressing them. And food systems is a critical component of that. Now, we know the needs are big. We reached record numbers of people last year. We're scaling up this year to reach even more. And with conflict, climate emergency, and with the COVID shock on top of that, we see now 270 million people in an acute hunger state. We see a doubling of the number of people, up to 41 million in integrated phase classification 4, so literally knocking on famine's door. And this requires us to do things differently, and innovation is at the core of that. So while we look to food systems to deliver more, we have the reality that the global and local food systems right now are not fit for purpose for this challenge. They're not in the position to deliver SDG 2 for the world. And we need to be looking at how through innovation, we can ensure that that's done. So what do we need from food systems? We're approaching the Food Systems Summit on the 23rd of September, and we see that not as an end to the conversation, but as a launch to global action and commitment to ensure that food systems work for all. And a working food system needs to be more nutritious, supportive of healthy diets for all populations. And we've been particularly excited with the energy around the School Meals Coalition. Innovation is core to that, how we can ensure that using the platform of school meals and the commitment to ensure that no hungry child goes to school, and every hungry child benefits from a nutritious meal in school, gives us an opportunity to have transformative impact across the food system. So this is one of the game-changing solutions that the world is rallying around, and one that we have a lot of personal experience in. More nutritious food systems. We need food systems to be more inclusive. Farmers, distributors, traders, consumers need to be part and parcel of this change and of this dialogue and the action. And within those groups, we need to make sure that those who are most marginalized, those who are most vulnerable, are part of the conversation. So women, indigenous people, youth, all need to be part of ensuring that food systems are more inclusive and are reaching all. More healthy, more resilient, more inclusive and more resilient. And here, resilience, we know that we need food system to be prepared for. They need to help communities withstand and help communities recover from crises. The crises are growing, they're becoming more protracted, they're hitting harder, and we need food systems to facilitate access to nutritious foods and healthy diets in these fragile and difficult contexts. And we need food systems to be more sustainable, more energy efficient, sensitive to environment considerations, clean cooking, food preservation. These are all areas where innovation can help ensure more nutritious, more inclusive, more resilient, and more sustainable food systems. Our call to action is that WFP has played a leading role in achieving and pioneering new ways to achieve zero hunger. And in that, we engage both in the what of our ideas, but also the how to make them work and take them to scale in difficult contexts. And that's where the Innovation Accelerator and your ideas play such an important role. So with the help of others, we can do more, we can build on our success, collaboration is key, great ideas are the inspiration that we all count on, and your commitment to put those ideas into action. So really excited about today's event and the work ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valerie, for reminding us about the importance of innovation and food systems. And now I will give the floor to my colleague, Regina Schmidt, to take us ahead into the pitches. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheila, and thank you very much, Valerie and Michael, for the very nice opening words. Yes, I'm going to host you now for the rest of the pitch event, and I'm going to do this together with my colleague Asiya Sultan. She is a new ventures consultant at the WFP Innovation Accelerator, and after each pitch, you have the opportunity as audience to write down a question, and she's picking up the most voted question and handing it back to the teams. So we are going to do that together. Now, what is going to expect you? So we're going to have 5 pitches. That's the first part, and then we do a fireside chat in between, and then we have the second half, which are 4 pitches. You have learned already, we had a boot camp running today during the last week, where we had 8 teams. Those 8 teams had been selected out of innovation challenge that we were doing, an innovation challenge focusing on rethinking the food system. And for this challenge, we have received 534 applications, an amazing result. But what I loved more, it was not only 534 applications, but they came from 102 countries. I mean, this is really a global spread. And I think that was the highest number in terms of countries that we ever had in the accelerator. So you really see we have received applications of all over the world. A rigorous selection process we went through, picked 8 teams which had been at the bootcamp last week, and there's an additional 9 team who has been the winner of the World Food Convention, which was happening, organized by the Tagesspiegel. So these are the 9 pitches of today. Now, how it works, we have 3 minutes. So each pitcher has 3 minutes, very short, very sharp, it's a quick fire, and then we are having a Q&A of up to 2 minutes. So it's very brief to understand what is the project about, what do they envision, and how do they want to do that. So that's really amazing. Good. Now, are you ready to go for the first 5 pitches? I would say let's get started. And I'm very happy to welcome the first pitcher, who is Chido. She's the founder of the Mushroom Integrated Food Production System from Zimbabwe. Chido, over to you.
Hello, my name is Chido Guerrera. I'm the one in the picture when I just discovered mushrooms at the age of 11. I became an orphan when I was 7 years old. And at that age, I had to take the responsibility of putting food on the table. I was out of school full-time when I was 9, and I was going to be married off when I was 10, so I can have someone providing for my food. At the time, I tended to a field that belonged to my grandmother, who I took care of. And at the end of each farming season, I would have more waste than I had food. Still today, on average per hectare of cereals, including small grains, only about 11% is actual food and 89% is waste. And yet there's increasing food and nutrition insecurity in our country. We have a solution to tap into the 89% waste and use it to grow mushrooms. In a space of 3 to 4 weeks, a farmer can turn the agrobiomass into mushrooms in a controlled environment. And they spend 2 months harvesting from the same bulk of biomass, after which the leftover material is a good fertilizer for gardening, growing a variety of vegetables, legumes, and cereals. We provide training to our beneficiaries. We provide to the materials that they need to process the biomass, as well as technical and quality control support. And once they have their produce ready, we help to link them to the market for both fresh and dry produce. Our main target beneficiary is 70% women, because women like I had to carry the responsibility as a child to put food on the table. They are the ones who carry this responsibility and are the most affected. The benefits of what we are bringing to the table is agro-industrial waste management, increased income for farmers from sales of the mushrooms, improved soil fertility through the use of the leftover biomass from mushroom production to fertilize the soil, and ultimately, this leads to increased dietary diversity. Today, the Future of Hope Foundation is fully registered and operational in Zimbabwe with a reach of up to 3,800 households. And in 2 years, we want to double our programs team from 5 to 10, and we want to increase our beneficiary reach to 50,000. We also want to be ready to scale our mushroom IFPS to Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, and South Africa. To do this, we need you. We need technical expertise. We want to redesign our growing units. We want to develop and strengthen the fungi culture supply chain. We need partnerships. We need USAID, we need GIZ, we need WFP, we need FAO in Zimbabwe, and also as part of our scaling plan. We need up to $1 million to implement our 2-year plan, which includes building the supply chain for fungi culture. We already have a committed team, and we need all your support to support our vision of reaching nutrition, food, and income secure in our world and zero agrobiomass wasted. Thank you, WFP Innovation Accelerator, for the opportunity to share about our work.
Thank you very much, Shido. I think that was an amazing start. It's always the most difficult person to start, but that was really a great start. I was very impressed when I heard about this 89% of waste. And I think it's an amazing idea to convert the agrobiomass into nutritious food and income. So it's very well done, great idea. So audience, you have the opportunity to write a question. In the bottom, you have the small icon Q&A. If you have any question, write it down, or you can vote which is the question which is of highest interest for you. Then my colleague Asiya, she's picking the one. And Asiya, what does the audience wants to know from Chido?
Yes, thank you, Regina. The audience would like to know, what else do you need to go into the biomass for good mushroom output? And do you help the farmers with this?
So,
Chido?
In order to process the biomass, you need to do a combination of controlling the pH and cleaning the material. And for doing this, you need things like hydrated lime that you use to control the pH in the material. And we do supply these things. You also need some materials like bluestone, which you use to decontaminate the area where you're working. And we supply this. It's also one of the reasons why we're wanting to work on strengthening the supply chain so that these things can be found in a one-stop shop where farmers don't have to go to different areas to source the material.
Thank you so much for that answer, Chido. Regina, over to you.
Okay, perfect. No, that was very interesting. Yeah, then let's move to the second picture. And I'm very glad to invite now on the stage Matt from the Axel project. He's the CEO and co-founder. Axel, the floor, Axel and Matt, the floor is yours.
Hi, thanks, Regina. Hi, everyone. My name's Matt from Axel, and we're based in Kenya. Today, I want to tell you how Axel is pioneering new technology that could be one of the biggest liberators of rural women's time in Africa. I'm talking about milling staple foods. Women from smallholder farms across the continent need to mill the staple foods they grow and depend on. Sorry, just getting my slides. Here we go. And that means they need to take it to a diesel mill. But the problem with diesel mills is they are large, expensive machines that have really high operating costs. And because of that, you only typically find them in larger villages or larger communities. The women from small communities are forced to walk miles, 1 to 2 times a week, carrying a heavy sack of grains to a diesel mill and then pay for a substandard milling service, which ultimately produces a flour with a distinct taste of diesel fumes. It's a terrible situation, and more than 40 billion hours of time is wasted like this each year. Because of this, Axel has developed the micromill. We designed the micromill to run on solar power, but it can also run on grid or e-bikes. It's incredibly easy to use, so anyone can run a small milling business. It's cheaper than a diesel mill, and because there's no operating costs, it's far more profitable than a diesel mill. And what that means is that the micromill is viable in small communities, that we can bring essential milling services closer to customers that need them. And that means women can stop wasting so much time on this activity. We don't need to create a market for milling. It's there today, and it's huge. In these 9 East African countries, each year, 24 million tons of maize is milled by more than 500,000 diesel mills at village level. We want to replace those dirty diesel mills with solar mills like the micromill, which equates to an addressable market of over 600 million USD in product sales. Our customers are generally entrepreneurs, larger individual farmers, or cooperatives. We get our products to customers through a B2B distribution model, and we partner with energy companies, agri companies, financing companies, and NGOs. We also work with public partners like WFP, and we're working with WFP to bring better and more convenient milling services into the refugee camps. The Axel management team is made up of a group with a diverse and complementary skill set. We have global experience. We're passionate about what we do and the impact we're trying to impart, and we have what it takes to build a successful business. The micromill has been in 2.5 years in product development. We're testing the first prototypes now, and the customer response is really fabulous. In about 12 months, we'll go for our first equity raise, but we need to prove the business model first. So we're targeting 350,000 of grant funding, 350,000 USD of grant funding to get us to that point. And to do that, we're going to put 100 micromills into market to prove the business model. We're also seeking pro bono or low bono advisory services through that period also. That's all from me. Thank you for your time. If you'd like to get into touch, please do.
Thank you very much, Matt. I think that was a great pitch. Thanks a lot. And I really like what you're saying. Micromills bring milling services closer to the customer, a need which is really existing in a lot of East African countries, as you were showing. Now that's really very valuable. Great. I'm seeing the questions coming in. So Asia, what is the question which had been highly voted?
Yes, so we have here, is there novel technology in the Axel mill, and could it be protected?
There is a lot of novel technology to make this mill affordable in a solar format. We've made the most efficient mill ever developed. So it is 2.5 times more efficient than a typical electric mill. And to do that, we've had to design and make our own specialized electric motor to get there. So that was quite a feat in itself. We also have some industry first technology inside this mill. It's an automatic feed control mechanism. So it's always operating at optimum efficiency. As far as patents and protecting that technology, I don't think that's a route we're going to take. We are about getting our product to market. It's a huge market. It's not going to be just us. We need other companies in the space that are also going to provide similar technologies as we are. It just so happens that we are currently the pioneers and leading the charge.
Thank you so much, Matt, for also that collaborative perspective on your solution. Over to you, Regina.
Okay, no, that was a great answer. Perfect. Then we are moving to the next picture. And my dear audience, this is a live event, and each time we have a special case. The last time I think there was a fire alarm in Kenya, and then we had a storm in Mozambique. And this time we really have connectivity issues with Yemen. And as Valerie was saying, we are operating really in very difficult environments. And the next innovation is an innovation from the country office of Yemen. And I'm very glad to welcome Yubras, but we are going to see his pitch as a video. He will be live on stage for the Q&A session, but the pitch will be as in video. So let's have a joint look on the video.
Hello everyone, my name is Yubras and I'm representing Seawater Greenhouse team from Yemen. Today I'm going to talk about how we are creating food security and livelihood opportunities in the coastal areas of Yemen by using seawater. Please meet Fatima. Fatima is a 35-year-old woman from Mukalla city. She has 5 children. Before the war, she was somewhat managing her meals with daily wages in the city. However, with the war, the economy has collapsed in Yemen, and she has minimal access to wage opportunities now. She is now struggling really hard to manage her meals. She wants to work on her farm and grow food. However, there is no fertile land along the coast. Most of the coast is arid and deserted. The water resources are extremely scarce. There is almost no water in most part of the coastal areas due to climate change, chronic drought, over-extraction of the groundwater, and the historic inefficient use of water resources. With this situation, it's almost impossible for her to grow food. She's not alone struggling to grow food here. There are thousands of Fatima who goes through the same fate every day. Therefore, in order to combat these climate-induced challenges around scarce water resources for agriculture, our team has designed a solution called Seawater Greenhouse. We can grow food in the greenhouse using seawater. Seawater Greenhouse is a solution that mainly uses reverse osmosis technology to desalinate water, porous membranes and evaporators in the structure of the greenhouse to maintain cooler and humid temperature inside the greenhouse. The treated water will provide fresh water to the plants, while the cooler temperature and the humidity maintained in the greenhouse reduces the water needs for the plants by 10-folds. The oasis effects of the cooler breeze from the greenhouse will also promote vegetation around the greenhouse. The reverse osmosis technology will also produce brine, which will then be processed into salt to create livelihood options. The project will initially engage 20 women who will produce vegetables in the greenhouse. They will generate income by selling the greenhouse produce in the market. This will improve this food security and nutrition situation at their household level. In a longer run, with the scale implementation, we envision to enable the Seawater Greenhouse team to sell their produce to WFP's cooked school meal programs and the salt to its food distribution programs in Yemen. The project will create greener environment in the coastal lines. With the increase and all year round production in the greenhouse, this project will also contribute to decreasing national food imports of the country, which stands at 90% as we talk. If you support us with $3 million US, the dedicated Seawater Greenhouse team, and of course with the support from the WFP management in Yemen, we are ready to build 30 seawater greenhouses in next 1 year to bring smiles in the faces of hundreds of Fatima in Yemen. We have Maria, Abdul Rahman, Raged, Omar, and myself in the team. My name is Yuvraz, and it was great presenting our seawater greenhouse solution in this extraordinary platform. If you have any questions, I remain on standby to respond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yuvraz. It was not live, but I still think it was very convincing. And I love what you're saying is that you want to bring smile in the face of hundreds of Fatimas. I think that project is very important for your country. So he will be live for the Q&A. So Asia, I'm handing over to you. What is the question that the audience wants to know from Seawater Greenhouse?
Right, so we have quite a few interesting ones. The top voted here is, what are the key challenges looking at the technical feasibility of the greenhouse, and how are you planning to handle those?
Thank you so much, Asia, for the question. Yeah, it's quite technical solution. And at this moment, we would first like to taste the proof of concept. And main challenge that we are seeing around here is that some of the equipment that are required for the seawater greenhouse, they're highly technical. For example, reverse osmosis technology, evaporators, porous membranes, we need to buy them from outside. We cannot find them locally in the country. So we need to import them. So that's what we see as a challenge at the moment. But again, like we are trying to explore different opportunities whereby we can try to find, we can modify it to the localized context to ensure that it's more local and more sustainable. Over.
Thank you very much for that answer. Regina, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really wish them luck for the development of the proof of concept. I think that's an important initiative. Great, then let's move to the next one. And the next one is Sahoui from the country office from Armenia. And I'm very glad this time we have a lot of countries here in the pitch we had before. So Sahoui, the stage is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Zari from WFP Armenia, and I'm very excited to present Access Renewable Energy Micro-Enterprises in Armenia project. Please meet David, a 25-year-old from rural Armenia. David set up a bakery with the help of his mother and wife when he was 20, as bread was not available in his village. He bakes only small quantities of bread daily because he is using inefficient equipment. David's production costs are quite high, so he cannot price his products competitively. Buying a solar station could be the solution to decrease his costs, but he cannot afford it. Lenders see micro-enterprises as high-risk borrowers, and therefore, David cannot access business loans. There are more than 55,000 micro-enterprises in Armenia, and 63% of them face this problem. The solution is financial inclusion that gives agro-businesses access to loans to make investments in their businesses. We will do this through a blended finance model. This is where the value of a loan is reduced through the use of subsidies. How it works? WFP raises funds and pays 30% of the cost of a solar station to an energy supplier. The micro-enterprise pays a 10% down payment and repays the remaining amount in installments over 5 years at a very low interest rate, while simultaneously making annual savings of more than 1,000 USD. What will be the impact of our project? In 10 years, one micro-enterprise will save more than 14,000 USD, a 421% return on investment over solar station's lifespan. 250 micro-enterprises can be reached with an investment of just 750,000 USD, while also reducing carbon emissions. Only paying 30% of the cost of the investment, which is a huge reduction on the traditional approach of paying for the full amount, we will be able to reach a larger number of agro-businesses. Our experience, we have proven that solar stations reduce production costs, as 9 micro-enterprises who received this from WFP have reduced their cost by 30%. So we are now testing our blended finance model on 7 agro-businesses. How we will grow? Based on lessons learned from our test, in 2022, we will scale up. In 2023, we will expand our product that our blended finance model applies to and begin to target global markets. Please meet our team, committed team, who each brings critical experience to ensure the success of every aspect of this project. So what we are asking for, we need 3,000 USD per micro-enterprise. Any contribution, no matter how small, will allow us to change the life of someone like David. Customer experience is our top priority. So we are looking to perfect the platform available for this. And most importantly, we are asking, please share our solution. Let's together achieve our vision to make food systems more profitable for everyone. Thank you for your attention. This is all from my side.
Thank you very much, Sarui. That was very good. And I think this blended financing solution, they are still quite seldom in the humanitarian sector. But I think if we really want to have impact on a broader scale, we need to be open on innovative financing solutions. So it's great to have that start. Good. Asiya, what is the question that you would like to raise?
Right. So from the audience here, we have, what measures do you have in place to mitigate the risk of a high default rate?
Asiya, thank you very much for this question. This is really an important one for us and for the successful delivery and implementation of the project. In fact, the contractual relationship of this project will be between the private sector energy supplier who installs the solar station and the micro enterprise itself. So they will sign a contract together prior to solar station installation, detailing the terms of the loan and what happens in case of default. Of course, however, the WFP will also have a contract with the private sector energy supplier, and we will add conditions for cases of default to ensure that micro enterprise is protected. So the terms will, of course, motivate on time repayment. But if the loan is defaulted on, then the solar business sites. Therefore, the only item that micro enterprise would lose would be the solar station itself. So if the payment is not done only for specific months, not the default case, then energy suppliers can take the electricity generated by the solar station as payment instead. So which would be regulated in the agreement between the supplier and the micro enterprise. Hopefully I answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarui. It's good to know that you guys have a few mitigation plans for this project, and I wish you all the best. Regina, over back to you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. Yeah, now we're coming already to the fifth picture. So nearly the end of the first part before we have the virtual fireside chat. And I'm very happy to welcome Jen Yu, who is the co-founder and CMO of ClearPlate. Jen Yu, the stage is yours.
As we know, 1/3 of world's food is being wasted, while 1 in 10 people still suffer from hunger. It's a huge gap. But in China, with unbalanced food supply, bad eating habits, and low motivations, some younger generations have lack awareness of saving food. Today, we focus on arousing awareness, trying to propose a solution. Let's see Carlos' story first. Just in a few weeks, he turned from a food waster to a zero-waste warrior. What happened and what changed him? The fact is, he uses an AI-based mobile app called ClearPlate. After meal, take a picture. AI recognizes it. If no leftover remains, Carlos will get points. There are 2 ways to use these points: help others or redeem gifts for yourself. Firstly, about help others. Considering about this, for every 1,000 points a user donates, a corporation will donate $1 to WFP School Feeding Project. Instead of cash donation, users can provide free meals to children in need simply by their daily behaviors, turning the food we save to charity meals. Secondly, for yourselves, there are many benefits on ClearPlate, such as environmental protection tableware, canvas bag, or even internship opportunities or training lessons, all free to exchange with points. That could be an aha moment, right? Actually, we are trying to build an ecosystem. Users, foundations can get rewards and support here. Donors and sponsors can increase brand reputations by donating through ClearPlate or providing products, since it's a good opportunity to reach millions of users. We currently get revenue by providing advertisement, organizing co-branding events, selling about to expire food, and providing customized service. After 2 years operation, we've got nearly 5 million users in China, and almost 70% are post-90s. Many of them also invite their friends or families to join with us. This is a huge potential to influence more youth in China. Here are 4 members in our team. Say hello to everyone. 2 founders of ClearPlay and 2 experts from WFP China. Nice to share our story with you all. We need more sponsorship and donorship, such as money and products, to promote the project and attract more people. And also investors to help us reach next milestone. So would you like to be with us? We do need your help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shenyu. That was a great pitch as well. And I loved your example of Carlos, how he converted from a food waster to a zero waste warrior. I think that's a very nice transition. We should have more people like that, and we have less food waste. Now that's great. So now I'm handing over to Asiya. What is the question for the team?
Okay, so the audience would like to know, what are the biggest challenges for ClearPlay this year?
Actually, the biggest challenge for us is always be how we can increase our user base and how we can make our impact solidly. But in different stage, maybe this challenge will have some different thing. For example, at the first, it's like that, how we can to modify our product and make the users easy to use and also to reach them. And then it's about that, how we can find different partnerships to give like products that we can redeem to the users, and also maybe like to with some different sponsors to support our charity projects. But all about this, we think the big challenge for us is all about how to expand the user base and to enlarge our impact. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Shenyu. Back over to you, Regina.
Okay, thank you very much. No, I understand that user base is critical for the future success. So good luck with that. Yeah, so this was the first part of the pitches. I'm handing now over to my colleague, Sarah Rubert, who is a venture consultant from the WFP Innovation Accelerator, and she's moderating the virtual Fireside chat. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Regina, and hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Hulbert, and I will be moderating today's Fireside chat, which will explore how innovation can strengthen local food systems. And with us today, we have 2 speakers who have extensive experience spearheading innovative approaches to tackle food insecurity worldwide. We have with us Christine Gould, an advisory committee member of the UN Food Systems Summit, and founder and CEO of the organization Thought for Food, which to date has worked with over 25,000 innovators in 175 countries to strengthen sustainable food systems. We also have with us Chris Kay, the WFP Pakistan country representative, who's actually calling in while on mission today in the field in Pakistan. Thank you so much, Chris. And during his time with WFP, Chris has also served as director of the Government Partnership Division for WFP headquarters and has led multiple humanitarian operations. Chris and Christine, thank you so much for joining us today, and let's get started. My first question is to you, Chris. As an experienced leader in the food security and humanitarian space, what do you see as WFP's role in strengthening food systems, and how can innovation in particular help us with this objective? Over to you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sarah. Hi, Christine. On our virtual sofa. You know, our role, I think, is pretty well defined in the context of the Food Systems Summit action tracks. You know, I think there's a couple there which really resonate very well with us. One is how our role can ensure access to safe and nutritious food for all. And secondly, how we can build resilience to vulnerabilities to stresses. Now, you know, particularly with regard to the latter one, it's perhaps one of those things, one of those areas which we're perhaps most well known for. You know, we're involved in addressing issues that are the causal factors are associated with war and with conflict, with natural disasters, and so on and so forth. You know, and our biggest concern is for the small scale farmers who don't often get access in those situations to new and innovative technologies. So, you know, we've got a lot, I think, in terms of bringing innovation to those kind of environments. But actually, what I want to talk about is, you know, really the former, ensuring access to safe and nutritious food, because in Pakistan right now, that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. There's a lack of information, there's a lack of availability, and the problem of price as well for a very significant number of people. 25% of the population of 220 million or so are food insecure in this country. 18% of children under 5 are suffering from acute malnutrition. So we've got a huge, huge challenge that can't be addressed by organizations like ours on our own. We have a government that is really committed. That's terrific. But, you know, innovation has to come across a broad span of areas of work. You know, there's a lot of good small scale innovations that can be undertaken, but the challenge I think that we have is finding those really simple innovations that can really be taken to scale. What we've looked at and what we recognize is that the staple here is wheat flour. It's, you know, the majority of people exist on chapati tea. 70% of the population actually buy their flour from small scale millers. And it was very interesting, I think, earlier listening to Matt and seeing his innovation to support milling. But what we're looking at here is really equipping those small scale millers with the technology to bring greater nutritional value to the flour that gets milled. And that can have a massive, massive impact to the majority of the people who rely on these small millers for accessing the basic staple. So, yeah, there's a lot more that I can talk about in specific terms relating to that work, but maybe I should give it a bit of a pause at this point.
Thank you so much, Chris, for those insights and examples that are undergoing in Pakistan. And perhaps now I'll give the floor to Christine. Christine, from your experience, what do you see as some of the most critical factors needed to successfully scale food and agri-tech innovations? And why is this work so critical now more than ever?
Thanks so much. And hi, Chris, back to you. It's great to share the Fireside Chat sofa with you. And thank you for this question. I think that the appetite for food and agri-tech innovation is indeed vast. And in many ways, it's unprecedented given the incredible challenges that our world is facing. But we need to approach these challenges in new and different ways, as we know, and that includes how we think about the concept of scaling. In many sectors like tech or software, scaling is all about growth, and growth as quickly and as profitably as possible. It's really embedded into much of the core ethos of startup culture as it's always been. You know, you've heard terms in the world of entrepreneurship like move fast and break things. And the co-founder of Y Combinator wrote an important essay that is literally titled Scale Equals Growth. And to achieve the goals of growth, it's all about patenting and owning IP and crushing your competition. But when it comes to food, we need to reframe this concept of scalability, and we need to think about scale also as a goal for transformation and change. To meet the demand we have for food and to address the systemic challenges that we face, we need to look at the whole food and agricultural sector with a new perspective and a complete overhaul. We need to think about long-term thinking. We need to focus on a return on impact, not just a return on investment. And we need to look at this impact through a systems lens. So to the innovators who are here today, who have incredible solutions, I've been so wowed. My advice for successful scaling is actually to focus on collaboration. Because food systems are so diverse and contextual, solutions need to suit a broad variety of situations, and they need to be locally relevant. In this sense, scale doesn't need to be about this winner takes all mentality as it's always been done. It can be about making impact, and you can do this by building prototypes and deploying them, and then openly sharing the knowledge that you gain, your best practices, your enabling technologies, so that more people in more places can build upon your innovation and benefit from your solution. This doesn't mean freeware. There are ways to have grant backs so that you benefit from that open and sharing and collaborative culture, but it requires us to reframe value creation away from IP as a means to exclude others, but rather to use IP as a tool to help foster the sharing and collaborative culture. It also means about thinking about more than your customers. Collaboration with them is, of course, critically important for your success. But to achieve change and transformation at scale, we also need to be thinking about how we can work with other actors that can help you to achieve long-term systemic impact. And so in the work that I'm doing at Thought for Food, which is working with millennial and Gen Z innovators in over 175 countries, I get to see this in action every single day. In the wake of COVID-19, our global community came together and they're representing, as I mentioned, more than 170 countries. And they found that they were facing similar challenges. Smallholder farmers in Colombia and in India were suffering from disrupted supply chains. Biotech innovators in Mexico and Indonesia were unable to go to their labs to carry out the research that they were doing. So we came together and launched something called the COVID Collaboration Collective, which was this open database and collaboration platform that was all about collecting and sharing ideas, solutions, prototypes, and best practices from TFFers around the world. And it helped to accelerate their individual innovation efforts and their own startups. And it also helped them to reduce inefficient duplication of mistakes that they were making. It was all about more minds working together. So in the COVID Collaboration Collective, we have ideas, best practices, case studies, blueprints, data sets, as well as a place where people can come and troubleshoot around problems that they're facing. And we do understand that solutions need to be locally relevant. So while there were similar challenges, they needed to consider local situations. But by coming together, they could support each other, again, to accelerate their efforts. So taking this collaborative and sharing approach may seem harder to do, and many innovators and entrepreneurs might want to do this from the outside, but are scared that this will turn away investors, because investors, the first question they ask, and it happened today, is like, who owns the IP? How are you going to crush your competition and take over the market? Which takes me to my next point, which I'll make quickly in the interest of time. It's that we need to shape the world of investment to understand and support the type of scaling and change that we need to make in food and ag. Investors actually can play a key role in helping to make our food systems to become more diverse and inclusive and sustainable. The thing is, this isn't just the right thing to do, because it also makes for great business, but we need to build the knowledge base to show this, to prove to investors that they can get a return on investment and a return on impact. There's this famous adage, I think we've all heard, it's commonly attributed to Henry Ford, and it goes, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And I think if we look at the problems we face, we definitely don't want to get what we've always got. We want to build better food systems for everyone, everywhere. This will create a better world and solve so many problems. So we can't do what we've always done. We need innovative technologies, we need innovative business models, and we need innovative thinking when it comes to thinking about how to scale successfully.
Thank you so much, Christine, for those insights and really helpful examples to the innovators here today. I think we have time for one more question, which perhaps I will offer to Chris. So Chris, there are a lot of people in the audience, development partners, entrepreneurs who want to help strengthen local food systems through innovation. And what kind of advice or message would you have for them?
Well, I think what we're seeing from the presentations today, certainly several of them at least, which is that they don't need to be super high tech. Innovations can be simple. They can be low cost. they can be extensions of dare I say it, but common sense. Sometimes, the simplest solution is the best, and yet we don't often see it. So, I think what we've also heard a little bit as well from Christine is ensuring that we listen to the communities. We've got to make sure that everything is contextualized and relevant to a situation that we're going to address. I think quite often we kind of overlook a little bit, the need to spend time to understand what people are doing and why. There may be just sort of little minor tweaks that can be made, which conceivably we can identify as innovative in the context they are. Don't let's underestimate the simple, I think is really be my message. I think that that's certainly something that we're learning more and more here in Pakistan. There's a lot of tech solutions out there, but for the main part of a lot of what we do, where we're working in very difficult and challenging environments, simple is often the best way of proceeding. I love the idea of understanding that return on investment and return on impact. Again, sort of just picking up on the words from Christine, because I think that that's certainly something which we sometimes also underestimate. I think that latter part, we consider innovations in the context of return on investment and not enough in terms of maybe return on impact. And that's certainly something which we, WFP, those of us in the development world, particularly can bring to the party, and not get too wrapped up in sort of understanding only things in terms of finance. Impact, needs to be understood, needs to be monetized as a way of being able to ensure that we really, again, optimize the value of what we do. So those would be my thoughts.
Thank you so much, Chris, for those thoughts. And Christine, thank you both for joining us. And I will now hand the floor back over to Regina. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for this very interesting, inspiring discussion. And you clearly see there's a need, but there's also potential for innovation in order to change the current food system. That's great to hear. I mean, that's why we are here. And before we move to the next pictures, there are 4 pictures to come. I would like to invite you to a very small video. And this is a video about one of our sprint projects. And just to recap, the teams are in the boot camp, and afterwards they can apply for the sprint program. This is a 6-month program. They get up to $100,000 US of funds, support of one of our projects managers of the accelerator, and access to our broad network. And this is one project where the country office of Malawi has cooperated with a social enterprise called Phoenix. So let's have a look on the video together.
Mbuyomu zokolola zanga zimaonongeka mwasanga ndiponso timataya chakudya tikapita nazo kunsika ngakhale sanagulitse tikapita nazo kunyumba sizikuonongeka. ndiwozi tikabwera nazo kunsika mapita nazo kunyumba tikumakhala nazo nthawi yayitali osonongeka tikupeza phindu lona kuti tikapanda kutaya mawa tikunyamulanso pita pansika tibwera ndi ndalama.
This is a very nice example, and I really love the video. Okay, are you ready for the second part of the pitches? We have 4 pitches to come, and I'm going to welcome the next pitcher, who is Fililo from Zambia, and who is speaking about food dryers. Fililo, over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I'm Fililo from Zambia, and I would like to tell you how we can support women to access solar food dryers through private sector participation. I would like you to meet Justin. He's among 2 million children that are malnourished, and his family is among 48% that are undernourished, and they're among 53% that cannot afford a nutritious diet. Justin's family has a challenge to access nutrient-dense food, especially during the lean season. You see, Justin's family enjoys an abundance of nutritious fruits and vegetables in the rain season for only 4 short months. However, up to 30% of that goes to waste. This is because they lack access to innovative solutions to address food waste. As a result, their family goes for up to 8 months experiencing hunger incidences. They lose potential livelihoods. They have limited diet diversity. Now, to support Justin's family, along with 18,000 others, we introduced tent solar food dryers. With these tent solar food dryers, Justin's family is able to dry foods in a faster way, safer, and get a nutritious product that has a value to get on the market, compared to when they use traditional sun drying methods. With these tent solar food dryers, Justin's family is able to reduce waste down to 10%. They can reduce hunger periods, and they can improve diet diversity. But importantly, they can earn an extra income of up to $40 annually. However, we have a challenge. Solar dryers are not readily available because there's a broken supply chain. Apparently, the suppliers are not aware that there's a demand that has been created. In addition, for those dryers that are available, they may be out of reach for most families, such as Justin's. Now, our plan is that building on what we have already done so far, we have created demand. We would like to get suppliers on board to make these solar dryers affordable. We would like to link families such as Justin's to the solar dryer suppliers. We would want it to be sustainable. And so we need Justin's family to get into savings group so that they can have funds to access the solar dryers. In addition, we have existing market structures, but we need to enhance them so that they can accommodate the marketing of dried fruits and vegetables in the event Justin's family produces and dries more food. To do this, we are requesting for $100,000 to pilot this project so that we can reach 18,000 families. Will you join me, Olipa, Ntinda, Edmo, and Natasha, to reach 18,000 families so that they access solar food dryers, reduce hunger experience, increase incomes, and improve nutrition? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fililo. I'm very impressed about the size of your pilot. I mean, you want to target 18,000 families to deliver solar food drying technology. I think that's very impressive. Great. Asia, the audience is still active. I don't see so many questions coming in. What happens?
I think they're still typing them, Regina, but we do have a first one here. So yeah, Team Zambia, how do you measure the impact of your solution?
Thank you, Asia. So when you look at the project, we have different facets to it. We need the suppliers, the private sector, to come on board. So we'll have to measure in terms of participation of the private sector. That is one. Then, so we look at the demand side. We look at how many households or families would come on board in terms of accessing the solar dryers. We'll also have to look at how has that improved waste of food in terms of reduction through utilization of the solar dryers. But also important, Asia, is that we need to assess how it is impacting the diet diversity, which would reduce the hunger incidences that I actually talked about earlier. So we'll use several measures. These are just some of them that we can apply. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Team Zambia, and all the best in your pursuit to improve nutrition. And yes, right back to Regina to introduce the next team.
Yeah, great. Then we are going to move to the next picture. And I'm very glad to invite Ian on stage. He's the strategic advisor and co-founder of Cricket House. Ian, you can go on the stage.
Thanks very much, Regina. My name's Ian. I'm representing Cricket House from Phnom Penh in Cambodia, where 72% of Cambodian districts suffer from high prevalence of malnutrition. Impacting this is the 6 million of the population still living in poverty. To overcome this, many farmers turn to traditional cricket raising, which is a very tedious, time-consuming, and seasonal income form. So let me introduce you to Meng. Meng is one of our early adopter farmers that works with the Cricket House cricket raising kit. It's a very passive activity that allows him to earn a year-round income, which produces at least $1,500 US a year, more than the average smallhold farmer rice yield. To do that, he uses Cricket House's solar-powered Arduino-based system that regulates the breeding environments of crickets. So by regulating the humidity, temperature, and airflow, we're able to get a year-round consistent yield 40% above our other competitors. To keep Meng and all of our other farmers in a job, we produce locally based dry roasted cricket snacks. This is in contrast to the roadside deep fried cricket snacks where a lot of the nutritional value gets lost. In fact, cricket powder is very high in protein, with over 60% of the body weight being made of protein, and it's very rich in B12 as well. This makes cricket flour the perfect match to develop a new nutritionally balanced snack with the World Food Programme Cambodia team. To reach our impact, we're going to use a regional network of wholesalers. Now, these wholesalers sell to chap hois. A chap hoi is a very informal mom and pop store that very often sit close to primary schools across Cambodia, or sometimes even inside the school grounds. So this allows us to reach deep into the target market area to overcome the purchasing of unhealthy snacks and create behavior change to purchase healthy cricket-based snacks and overcome widespread malnutrition in Cambodia. We run a very lean business model. We work very closely with our supply chain partners and have very strong relationships through the INGOs that are currently purchasing our kits as alternative livelihoods, cricket farmer cooperatives, our manufacturing support partner in Lili Foods, and also our distribution partners. And hopefully in the future, a World Food Programme behavioural change campaign to really push the marketing deep into the countryside. We have a very experienced team in the Cricket House with over 10 years experience in business and developing innovations, and we're supported by the fantastic team from World Food Programme Cambodia with Camilla and Bong Sok Chia. We're very fortunate that Cricket House had already planned our 2-year roadmap for an impact capital raise to develop new premises, upgrade facilities, in our long-term goal to tap the alternative protein market globally, which is growing at a 23% CAGR. What this means is we can keep our farmers farming, but what it also means that provides the support that we can actually prototype and test a brand new nutritionally balanced cricket-based snack with the World Food Programme team in Cambodia and undertake full market testing as part of the Sprint program. To do this, we're already working with Sokchia and the Sun Network as they build out across Cambodia, but we'd love to be connected to more ASEAN and European contacts for the certification support processes. It's very important to us. In the same way, if you're an FMCG looking at CSR or CSV activities and your distribution chain and how to amplify your impact, please get in touch. As also, if you're an impact investor, we're impact first, and we heavily embed our impact all the way through our supply chain. So please, if you'd like to enjoy a cricket snack with your beer with me, let's get in touch.
Okay, Ian, that was a great pitch. Thank you very much. I mean, there's such a big potential of alternative proteins. I really like how you plan to modernize the Cambodian cricket industry and to overcome nutrition deficiencies. I think that's really amazing. So I see, more questions are coming in. So what is the most voted question?
Yes, the most voted question here is, yes, your team is the one that is selling. Is your team the one that is selling the transformed products? And if so, which % of the sales goes back to the farmers using your technology who grew the crickets?
Okay, so we have a double-ended impact model, which can be difficult sometimes because the demand side is what drives the impact on the supply side. In a way, we're kind of like the fair trade of cricket buyers in Cambodia. So we have a fixed buyback price of 9,000 real in the local currency, which is $2.25 USD per kilo. This is far above our competitors as well. So for us, nutrition is important. We have the contracts actually based on 3 things. A family can consume their own crickets for their own nutrition needs. They can sell to their local community to increase capital flows through the local economy, or they can sell to us. So our contracts are actually flexible. So yeah, I hope that answers. What's the profit? Basically, the return on investment for one kit is 7 months, but we're already working with Chamron Microfinance to ensure that they can have an uncollateralized loan, knowing that the buyback contract allows a farmer the income that can basically stretch repayments over 3 years.
Thank you so much, Ian. And hopefully one day you guys will expand to East Africa, because we actually do have regions where we eat crickets as very yummy snacks. So thank you so much for that answer. And back over to you, Regina.
Okay, great. Yeah, now we're moving to the next picture. And the next picture, he's a kind of a special guest. I was mentioning this before. One of our partners, the World Food Convention from the Tagesspiegel, and Kitovu and Emeka, the CEO of this company, he was the winner of the startup pitch. And I'm very glad to have him here in this round as well. So Emeka, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Regina. Hello, everyone. My name is Wachine Emeka, and I'm the founder and CEO of Kitovu Technology Company, a startup that provides smallholder farmers the data to make smart decisions about what to grow and who to sell it to. Several years ago, I had the good fortune of running my own farm. In the course of running that farm, I realized a lot of challenges and gaps involved in the agricultural sector that creates a lot of problems for smallholder farmers. Essentially, smallholder farmers don't have the necessary data to make smart decisions, which leads them to create a mismatch between the kind of inputs they are using on their soil and the soil's nutrient requirements. Ultimately, this leads to low yields for them, as well as difficulties in finding fair buyers for their produce. We started Kitovu Technology Company to solve this problem. What we do is that we collect different kinds of data, which we analyze, enabling us to provide insights to smallholder farmers. Insights like what type of fertilizer to use, how to apply it across the farm, plant health analysis information that improves scouting for farmers. And as a result of our intervention, farmers are able to cut down their input costs by 30%, increase yields by 50%, and sell all their produce, cutting down post-harvest losses. We work in a space that has lots of opportunities considering that in Nigeria, there are about 64 million smallholder farmers, but we are targeting about 500,000 smallholder farmers in the grain and cassava value chain who create a combined demand of over $2.1 trillion across the demand for grains, cassava, and inputs. Our business model is that we identify farmer-based organizations and agents who we train, collect the different data, analyze, provide farmers representation, and as well as precise inputs. Then at harvest, we are able to match everything that the farmer has produced to a buyer. We work in a space that is quite very, very competitive because of the low barrier to entry, but we work to provide farmers an end-to-end solution from inputs to market, and that's how we differentiate our services. To date, we've been able to train 157 field agents who are young people who normally don't have a job. And working with them, we've been able to impact over 7,000 small-scale farmers and land 5 B2B partnerships. This has been largely made possible by our 8-man team with a combined 47 years experience across business development, agronomy, and technology. We are looking for strategic partnerships with financial institutions that will enable us to provide input financing for small-scale farmers. We're also looking for financing that will allow us get more talent, further develop our products, and finance our input credit program for smallholder farmers. With your support, we will be able to expand our footprints to more African countries, and together we'll be able to work to transform Africa into the hub that feeds the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emeka. I'm very much impressed about the results of your farm productivity platform, I have to say, like to decrease the input cost by 30% or the yields to increase by 50. I think it's very impressive. So there are more questions coming in. Asia, what is the question for the team?
So we have here, Emeka, very impressed by the technology, and I see that is closely linked to logistics and information system strength of WFP. As a Nigerian farmer, what would I be buying into to access these information systems? What is the cost model to the farmer, and what services does the farmer get? This is more like 3 questions, but yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much for that insightful question. Currently in Nigeria, we provide a bundled service where we link the service to actual physical products. The price of the services and the inputs that the farmer needs will provide that.
Now there seems to be a problem with the connectivity. Okay, let's stop here and move to the next one. Apparently there's an issue with the connectivity with Emeka. We don't hear him anymore. No, let's move to the next one. And this will be our last picture. And I'm very glad to welcome now Johanna from the Clean Cooking Project from Haiti. So, Johanna, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So, my name is Johanna, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to help make cooking safer while fighting plastic pollution and deforestation in Haiti. But first, meet Marie-Ange, a volunteer mom who wakes up every morning at 4 a.m. to light up a fire to cook lunch meals in a school in Mautière, in the northwest of Haiti. Marie-Ange suffers from multiple burning injuries on her body, arms, hands, even her eyes, as well as strong coughing and headaches due to indoor pollution and open fire. But Marie-Ange is not alone. She's among 4,000 WFP school canteen cooks and among 27,000 Haitian school cooks in pain when doing their job, and whose health is deeply affected by unhealthy cooking indoor practices. So in Haiti, 95% of the population cooks with firewood and charcoal. And this means that Haiti has only 1% of its original forest standing up, which is every year reduced to create additional firewood and charcoal. On top of that, Haiti is one of the most polluted countries of the Americas. And although styrofoam has been banned, it is still vastly used. It contaminates the soil, the water and the land very deeply. But despite all of this, our team is very motivated to take up the challenge because we want to be part of the solution, not the pollution. How? Well, we intend to introduce heat retention bags that are made out of local plastic that is clean and shredded and then used as the prime stuffing. Since the bag remains hot on the inside, but at room temperature on the outside, it is completely safe to use around children, and it makes the overall cooking experience much nicer. How do we get it into people's hands? Well, we intend to aim 100% of WFP schools, which represent more than 1,290 canteens throughout the country. We are also supporting Haitians in the manufacture of heat retention bags by connecting, local manufacturers to recyclers. So this indirectly enables women with low income to be part of the solution by making the bags. And we use WFP schools to disseminate good practices. So heat retention bags is part of a larger program, clean cooking program, that include also the distribution of gas stove and also clean cooking practices and trainings. But today our ask is $350,000 to bring these heat retention bags to the communities. However, this needs to be done with a larger program, which would require $900,000 and allow us to save up to 45% of our current expenditure. So we're looking for your support to fund these activities. We're also looking for mentoring sessions with experts in behavioral change and clean cooking. Thank you all for listening, hoping that together we can improve the cooking practices in Haiti and reduce our environmental print. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Johanna. I think that was a great last pitch. and I really loved this this bag because I've learned it's derived from the heat retention, and it's really nice to see how a traditional approach is translated in a modern way. That's great to see. So there are still some questions, and I'm looking forward. What is the very last question?
All right, thank you, Regina. So the audience would like to know which plastic is used for insulation for the heat retention bags and whether these bags also work in colder climates. Thank you.
Sure. So right now, one of the first components that we use, the first plastic, is the styrofoam. So technically, the styrofoam is not a recycling per se, because it's already a highly transformed type of plastic, but we can upcycle it by cleaning it and shredding it. And then we can add all other types of plastic, such as the labels of the bottle of water, to add more fluff to the bag and give it like a nice like pillow shape. And it definitely works also in cold places because I use them at home and I'm from France. And you can leave it overnight, and in the morning or in the afternoon when you take out your casserole or the pot, you still need like some like hot hands, we call it in French, to get the pot out of it because it's still like really, really hot. So it definitely works in cold and hot places.
Thank you so much, Johanna. Regina, back to you.
Yeah, great. I think, thank you very much to all the pitches. I think these were brilliant pitches. And I'm sure now the audience wants to know how to get involved with the teams. So what you can find in the chat, you find a link to a Google Forms. So if you would like to be connected to one of the teams, please write how we can connect you and to whom you want to be connected. And we will ensure that we're going to do that. So I see already the messages coming in the chat. Now, and I would take now the opportunity to thank you. A massive thank you first to the amazing teams and the brilliant pitchers. I really love the time you had invested, the incredible dedication and the enthusiasm. I also would like to thank you to the mentors of this team. I think we had nearly 20 mentors for this team. People from a very different background, private sector, public sector, from WFP, from the UN, Amazing, special thanks to really all of them. And last but not least, I would like to thank the organization team in front of and behind the stage. It needs a big team in order to run such a smooth event. So thanks a lot to all of you for your passion and energy. Yeah, if you want to stay connected with us, here, the next slide are the contact details. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn. There's amazing content from our comms team on how to disrupt hunger and about our work. So really stay connected with us. And now it's time to say goodbye. And I would like to ask all the pitchers and everybody who is still around, come on stage and let's say bye-bye to this very nice audience. Okay, so come here. I see Johanna, Fililo, Shido, Jenyu, Ian, Sarui, Matt, Linda, Yuprash, Christine, Sarah. That's very nice. Thank you very much for all of you. And then bye-bye to the audience. It was nice having you.